Okay, hey, welcome into Pro Football Ireland from Radio Row in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Michael McQuaid with Mark Hogan. Mark, just, the panic or the calm after the storm, after another busy day in Radio Row. This week has been insane. But you know what? It's great crack. How are you getting on?
Yeah, look, we are blessed to be here. I suppose this is our Super Bowl preview. I mean, we're really getting into the game today. But when you actually break down what we're doing here alone, like the stuff that you see going on, honest to God, I was over here the other day to our right. Peter King is on the phone. From what I picked up, he was talking to Harry Roseman. Probably running his column. And it's like, isn't that just unbelievable that you're surrounded by that? Last night we're hanging out with Arif Hassan, who we've both met and have had great conversations with. We're literally having a beer with the guy. It's amazing, and don't take it for granted. But we're doing a podcast now on Radio Row.
Yeah.
I mean, this is playing the 3 Arena if you ever make it as a band. I mean, this is it. The notoriety of doing it here, it's a dream come true.
It's mad stuff. I think for me, it's like just seeing everyone. I mean, I'll use Peter King as an example. Like, you're sitting, you're working, you get up, you go for a bottle of water, or in this case in America, a bottle of Gatorade with about 50 grams of sugar in it. And just down there, Peter King was chatting this morning for about 5 minutes. The lad is legend, and actually hoping to get him on with my employer on Radio Row this week, please God. But he was saying, just chatting about the game and sort of the things to expect. I mean, he loves Germany, and I think I think we'll get him on during the off season. He said he's obviously happy to come on. Look, it's interesting because you've said it. Like, the around the NFL guys were sitting right in front of us here earlier on. The Fox Sports studio. It's funny, Colin Carr's not here, and Fox is doing the game, and he's not even like downtown in Phoenix. He's still in the studios, and Good Morning Football are still in their studios. But first world problems. Like, who cares?
I know.
The whole pack. I mean, I was chatting to Pat McAfee today. He called me Paddy Football because the funny thing was he knew my name after, and I was like, why did you not just say it on TV, mate? But no, that was like, it was 10 out of 10 funny. Like, I was literally FaceTiming my wife because the time difference is shocking, and I was giving her a tour of Radio Row. Jamar Chase was standing, just chatting. Jamar Chase and Joe Montana, you couldn't get near them all day. Like, I went over to try and get both of them. No. Christian McCaffrey was on a free run all day. You missed this today.
Yeah, I must say, for anyone that's jealous of you, I share that jealousy. I was off running around doing interviews elsewhere. You can check that out on our Twitter and on Virgin Media's Twitter. Yeah. And I was checking in, seeing pictures of Christian McCaffrey, of Joe Cool,
Joe Cool. I asked him if he's coming to Dublin.
Oh yeah.
So like he wouldn't like. I mean, it wasn't him, but it was like his entourage. Yeah. And I was like, Joe, like just shouting, "Are you coming to Dublin this year?" He goes, I hope to. And then he walked away. I was like, yeah.
I'll be back in tomorrow. I hope the names are still knocking around.
I think tomorrow, as in the Thursday, it's probably going to go out on Thursday for people. Tomorrow is like probably going to be the day. Like, it's going to be the day where it's like it gets going. Like, I was waiting for you to get up here, and that makes it sound really bad. I was waiting for you to get up here. I was waiting for you to get up. I think you were in Scottsdale or whatever, and was chatting to a couple of guys from Denver Media, and it's funny because they're all here, even though it's the Chiefs in Super Bowl, and like they're really excited about chatting to Emmanuel Sanders tomorrow. It's been a really, really good week. It's my first experience of Radio Row. I know it's yours as well, because I came in on the Friday last year, but it's been a really, really good experience. And I think for anyone watching this, and it's funny because I've had maybe 3 or 4 people DM me over the last couple of weeks asking how can they get started into doing their own podcast or doing their own NFL thing, and I guess the only advice that I can really give to them is just work your socks off.
I'm sure I'm gonna
put the effort in.
I think I'm going to talk about this or bring it up because I've been thinking about it all week. I got a notification on Twitter a week ago saying I joined Twitter 4 years ago. That was the start of the whole thing for me.
4 years ago.
Since then, I've worked 2 seasons professionally for UK coverage. I've been doing this, and it's like within 4 years I got to Super. Don't get me wrong, I'm extremely appreciative of that. It's grinding, it's hard work. There is a bit of luck involved, don't get me wrong.
Definitely.
But I think I was talking to someone about this that had DM'd me about it, and I said, believe in yourself and go in hard, because any of us can do it. There is now a market in Ireland. It wasn't even strong 4 years ago, that kind of way, but it's kind of persistent.
What were you doing 5 years ago. How are you not on Twitter? This is a whole different discussion.
I was on Twitter, but I said I have to go and actually start putting content out there because I knew that I was able to. But it goes to show like where we are now. And funny enough, you say like this place is going to kick off. I have my own media appointments that I have to make now in Ireland, which I was like, I'm getting booked for radio slots. I'll be on Dermot and Dave on.
You were on iRadio the other day as well.
I was on iRadio. Dermot and Dave now reached out. If anyone was a Dermot and Dave fan, to catch me on.
The only Today FM I remember was it Ray Foley and PJ back in the day?
I was on with Ray last week.
Oh, here we go. This guy's doing more than me, for God's sake.
Well, I was working with Ray last week. That was the difference. I wasn't. But it's 100% I appreciate it. And then we have, I guess, this game. I mean, if you wanted to take the harsh pivot and go with the game, but in terms of what we're doing here, I think it is very exciting. But I think there is definitely an electricity in the air because the conversations genuinely, like, you think that these conversations, you dream that these conversations are going to happen. Those conversations do happen, that you meet your favourite media member, your favourite journalist, and you're talking about the game to them. And Michael, I'm telling you, it's 50-50 with every single one. For every person that says the Chiefs are definitely going to win, there's someone saying the Eagles, and for everyone that says very nervously, oh, I think the Eagles, but I could change to the Chiefs, there's someone saying I'm with the Chiefs, but I could change to the Eagles. It's so tight.
I was going to be like, mate, give us your pick at the end of the week. I'm joking. That was a bit like, mate, wait. Yeah, the plan is we're going to do this podcast. We've actually got a video recording that I'm going to ask Mark Hogan to edit later on. I'm joking. If you want to, you can. Of Jeff Reinbold's show in Dublin last week. Now, big thanks to Mavi for sending that on me today. I actually forgot that show happened. That's how mad this last week has actually been. We went from all that to this. We're really blowing up our own drum. We need to shut up here. Anyway, we really appreciate really appreciate everybody coming in and interacting with us, and it honestly means an awful lot, especially when we're thousands of miles away from home. And all I want is a cup of tea and soda bread. Do you know what I mean?
I want a proper Guinness. We went for one yesterday, right? And it was a can, and they charged $8 for it, right?
Not even that. They're charging. Like, I was out with the Talk Sport and Gridiron lads earlier on. How much did they pay for a Stella? And it wasn't even a pint.
10, 11.
$10.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Right. See, the thing is, if we're going to do another pod, I don't want to go too much into this. Mm-hmm. So do you want to do like bold predictions or what?
I know. I mean, we might as well, because I think by the time Saturday rolls around, we'll be able to tell people a better.
Let's jump on this then, right? I was talking to Sam Monson earlier on. Now, friend of Ireland. I mean,
oh, lovely, yeah.
The lad, great crack last night as well. I was saying, I had to sit the overnight. Well, obviously, we were both open at night. And I was sitting clipping up audio for Sirianni and for Andy Reid. And the thing, if you actually put both of them together, Andy Reid, and I like Andy Reid, right? His answers were so short, right? And Sirianni just went on and on and on and on and on. A bit like a long mass, but an interesting mass. And I don't know, like, which coach would you rather have on Sunday?
Andy Reid, hands down. Yeah, not even close. I mean,
not even close, like not even a discussion point. Because like what Sirianni has been able to do with his team is nothing short of sensational.
Yeah, but who was it from the Giants only during the week? It was name goes me. Giants player anyway during the week. I know this is the topic that Nick Sirianni is riding in the coattails of a talented Eagles roster. That's not the narrative I'm trying to push right now, but it is that is like the Eagles roster is so good that now the narrative all season was, oh, the Vikings are trash, the Giants are fake, and now the hate has turned towards Nick Sirianni for having too good of a team. I think he's a lot better than that. Obviously, Shane Steichen on the offensive coordinator is fantastic as well, but Andy Reid is an absolute game changer, and I was thinking about it all week. Like, the game is obviously on our minds, and they obviously are going to have to get creative with what they do. I'm kind of holding back because I know we have a whole podcast to do here, but they don't have a run game. We know that all year. They have not had a run game. It's all been about how they use the guys out of the backfield, the running backs out of the backfield. So I believe in Andy Reid to come up with something absolutely crazy this week. And look, Nick Sirianni, great coach, but Andy Reid is going down as an absolute legend right now. He's going down as an all-timer with how good he's been.
It's his fourth Super Bowl appearance, which says it all. Says it all in regards to his life, his experience, and his consistency as a head coach. But the fact
his ingenuity, like, look, we were forgetting about what happened with the Raiders when they did the merry-go-round clap. I don't know, was it ever given a name, but I mean, everyone knows what I'm talking about, and it is that ingenuity, and I'm sure he's going to come up with something this week because he has to. Because, like, when you see Darius Slay is matching up with their top receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, like that, he's taken out of the game, and this is the problem for the Chiefs. They're playing the best pass defense all season, and they have no run game. So they have to have some ingenuity, because they can't. Well, look, they might keep on going to Travis Kelce, but it is going to be the running backs coming out of the back. But it's like the talent there with Bradbury for the Eagles cornerback, like the whole Gardner Johnson, like, you know, the talent in that secondary for the Eagles is absolutely insane. And yeah, Andy Reid has to come up with something to be able to beat it, because Darius Slay is, I don't know, tomorrow we'll know if he's an All-Pro. He's definitely obviously been named to the Pro Bowl as a starter.
Are you going tomorrow night?
We'll be on tomorrow night.
Are you going tomorrow night?
I think, well,
I just went. This is why this is happening so late. I went and bought a suit tonight. So the whole works.
I'm going with
So I'm going with a guy who I work with called Joseph, and Joseph he's got I think he's got like a tux. Tomorrow night, and we're on the red carpet. But no, it's business casual. But we'll get our honors guesses at the end of this podcast. I mean, I get what you're saying about the Chiefs' run game not being as anywhere near efficient as the Eagles, right? But I still like Pacheco. I still like McKinnon. I like them on the night.
For me is, and even look, Isaiah Pacheco obviously beat out Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the end. But like McKinnon, like, wasn't even a name that anyone was mentioning 8 weeks ago. Like at the end, like he has stood up, and he was, you know, what they needed. But Miles Sanders is also going to the Pro. Like when you actually compare like for like, I mean, these teams are incredible in terms of they each have matching strengths. Because they're so strong, it's very easy to say every single position group is super stacked, which it is. But I think that they will have to use, and it was something that we said when we started talking about the playoffs. I said we're finally going to have to see the Chiefs use the run game, because by definition of the playoffs having to always have it, apparently, is what I said. They have gotten away with it, of course, but they're up against a completely different animal in the defense, because both teams, you can't say whether the defense or the offense is better, because that's how good they are. I've talked about it, is the two number one seeds. I hope we get a savage game. I was talking to Ollie Thornton about this the other day, and I said,
I love your name dropping Thornton already, and we're a few minutes in.
And
hi, Ollie.
1.5 is the spread. We haven't had that in a Super Bowl for a while.
But the over-under is what, 49 or 40? It's a high over, like.
And it's that it is a super tight game that I hope that it delivers. Like, you know, you're one injury away from it all falling apart.
Wow.
Like, to one of those quarterbacks.
Let's go into it then. For that, like, I think that's something to talk about. Like, I know we briefly talked this the other night. I don't believe for a second that both those lads are anywhere.
They've admitted it. When you're admitting on Super Bowl week that your quarterback isn't 100%, Andy Reid is answering questions saying he's not 100%, he's definitely not, but I believe he can do everything in the playbook.
That's worrying, and it makes you think, at what level is he at? Because I was like, you know, we were having this conversation earlier on. You know, at what point is he not suitable? And like, yes, you can take the whole talk. It's a Super Bowl, and you can put it out the window, and it's the one game, and he has to play. Whether he has one leg or something, and
yeah.
Let's be honest, he probably would still bloody play if he did have one leg. Like let's be quite clear here. But it's like, if he's 60% fit, they can't. They're going to have to rely too much on McKinnon and Pacheco. I think betting wise, betting on Mahomes going over yardage at the minute is very, very sketchy, because of we don't know what he's like. If they double team, and they are going to double team Travis Kelce, I think the Chiefs could be in trouble. But this is what I mean. It's like there's so many ifs and buts about the Super Bowl, but there always is. But this year it's like there really is. Yeah. Like Jalen Hurts may require a shot in his shoulder on Saturday. You know, even with that shot, at what percentage is he? Yeah. Is he okay? I think that's a massive issue. And I think as a fan, first off and foremost, I just hope it doesn't take away from what we hope, and we hopefully, please God, deserve to be a hopeful high-scoring Super Bowl, and one where we'll look back on years to come. I mean, I'm sitting here now, NFL Network's on, and it's 31-28 to the Chiefs in Super Bowl LIV.
It's a real one of those that it stacks up so well that I'm worried that it won't deliver, because it has the elements of being an absolutely savage game. Maybe everything cancels out. You know, that's the problem as well. But when you talk about Mahomes specifically with the injury, I am certainly intrigued. They're obviously trying to beat that narrative. They know that the likes of us, the likes of the media that has been filling this room, are talking about Mahomes' injury, and they're doing their best on whatever it is, Twitter and Instagram, to put out videos of him with great movement. And when you're doing that, that says PR, we're trying to get done this thing. And if the better thing to do is he's not injured, and we can let people think that he's injured and then give the Eagles a fright when he comes out. Look, he was fine the last day, obviously against the Bengals. He had those runs. Like, at the end of the day, Mahomes was fine in the AFC Championship game. Well, not fine, it was his best game ever in his career, and he was still injured then. He has had the 2 weeks, whereas Jalen Hurts didn't have a great game. Like, fantastic field position is why they put up 31 points.
No passing touchdowns in the NFC Championship game.
And
against a Niners team that couldn't stay on the field.
They've had time. Didn't get a competitive game against the Giants. Obviously, the 49ers game was the 49ers game. I do think that you have to look at how their own run game was in that. Maybe I've mentioned it, maybe I haven't mentioned it, but their run game was able to beat the best rush defense in the NFL, that's the biggest thing to me going into this. That is a massive confidence booster, and I love that they got Boston Scott on the field, because he's the kind of, guy that could ruin everyone's bet, like a first touchdown score, or comes out and wins MVP because he's super involved, and all of a sudden Miles Sanders, who obviously is a Pro Bowler himself, doesn't factor as much because they have this wacky plan. Maybe that's where Nick Sirianni is able to come up with something. And you're Boston Scott, because Jalen Hurts is injured. Maybe they do put more 2 running back sets in, because Jalen Hurts won't be doing as much running, and they know that that's how they set up a lot of success all year. Obviously that goes so deep into how it'll open up the pass game. That's something that I'm looking out for, is are they going to use a lot more Boston Scott to mask over Jalen Hurts' injury? And they have that with the Eagles. That's why the roster is so stacked, that they can do something like that, because they have the players that are able to make up for it.
I would say, we've talked about Pacheco and McKinnon on the Chiefs on the other side of the ball, or on the other team. And yes, you can argue that the Eagles' offense is stacked and they've got a lot more weapons, as I'm sure you're going to casually check your phone and make sure the battery's still going for the crack. Please God, it is. It's all good. What I was going to say about the Chiefs was, I think a lot of people are maybe looking, and this is not you or me, just this week. I mean, believe me, I've heard some stuff in here this week from local radio stations. Namely, a guy in Nashville, he sounds like in the north you got BTECs instead of an A level, so something instead of a leaving cert, like a BTEC Pat McAfee. It's like, Jesus, lads. You still got MVS, you've still got Juju, you got Sky Moore, albeit he's had a very quiet rookie season. He's had sort of glimpses of things. Mahomes could almost throw it to a rock and he would still find a way to get it down the field. So it's like, I just don't like that whole narrative where it's like, oh well, the Eagles have got Devonta Smith, the Eagles have got AJ Brown and all this, and I'm like, lads, Travis Kelce's basically a wide receiver. There's a wide receiver sitting in that chair right there earlier on, called Rob Gronkowski. And I tell you what, what a day. He is built like a proverbial brick house. So, I mean, it makes you think, like a tight end in the way. Kelce's not that big. I mean, we seen him the other night. He wasn't massive, or am I?
No, I'm one of those that has been leaning in, and Tej Seth, who I don't know, I think he's a great Twitter follower or follow. He doesn't associate with any brand in particular. I think he's from PFF. He's one of these guys that does a lot of analytics, but he put out a very simple one, matching up Sky Moore, Juju, and who's number 3 there? It's
Sky Moore, Juju, and MVS.
And MVS, sorry,
yeah.
And MVS. And
it's late at night, folks. Yeah. Technically, it's like 5 a.m. at home, so it's all good.
I'm checking my battery there because it has been that long a day that the phone is gone. And those 3 have 1,800 total yards. Juju has 950, Sky Moore 250, whatever. MVS makes up the difference. And he was comparing it to, well, Tyreek Hill had 1,400 yards. So this whole thing about Tyreek Hill being gone. But my point is, when it comes to that you have one guy that Darius Slay would have had to look after. You now need 3 guys to fill that one void. And look, it's the difference of 400 yards, but yeah, that's why, because you need to give positions on the field up to 3 guys now, where one person was able to do all of that for you. So I suppose that's where I'm kind of, I know I put out a clickbait quote the last day, but I do believe in it.
You're right.
I love to have Tyreek Hill, and people don't like to hear that. Oh, it's an off-season. So it's like, no, in this game against this secondary, you want to box off. Okay, Darius Slay, we mightn't have Tyreek Hill will come up with a play, but our Darius Slay now looks after Juju. He had twice as much yards as MBS this season. He didn't break 1,000 yards. And he's going to be taken, like, I'm convinced Darius Slay will take him out of the game. And if not, that secondary is insane that they're going to be fine anyway. Your Maddox is stepping up this year. And, like, I suppose that for me is where, Travis Kelce has to have a massive game. But that's where it can all fall apart because, look, I get what you're saying. Devontae Smith, he could fall off a cliff himself.
Devontae Smith could be MVP, but I mean, it's not. If he's MVP, Jalen Hurts is MVP. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I hate. The only thing I hate about this game is that, like, he should be the MVP. If it was AJ Brown, I was shocked at how. I mean, he's not small in any way, shape, or form, but how small AJ Brown was to what I thought he was in real life, and then how high pitched his voice was. It was like, oh,
I missed them.
This guy missed you. You missed the Eagles overnight. Yeah.
I would love to see him. Funnily enough, I'm actually wearing an Eagles top underneath this. That my brother is an Eagles fan, and I knew I'd be around today, like walking all over the city. So I wore something a bit more loose, and I was thinking, geez, I could take it off now and go to an Eagles bar, talk the way that I talk about football, and maybe I would bump into some people. But no, AJ Brown. Look, they are so stacked, the Eagles, that's why, like, if Travis Kelce doesn't play well.
Yeah.
If Patrick Mahomes, like, look, the defense is fantastic, but when we're saying the Eagles are fantastic, those two players can't have an off day. Whereas if AJ Brown has an off day, I do think you can put stuff on Devontae Smith. If Jalen Hurts has an off day, he has the running backs there that are going to be able to help him out, because you have to go like for like. It's his feet are what make him as special this year as he is, whereas it's not like you can say, oh, Patrick Mahomes' feet is what makes him special. No one else can throw the ball. Look, Jalen Hurts also is obviously a fantastic thrower of the ball, but there's more elements to it, and that's where I would get worried that things have to go right for a couple of players for the Chiefs, where you don't seem to have to say that about the Eagles.
Let's have a couple of bold predictions, and then let's talk about tomorrow night, and let's leave it at that, because I think we have a lot to talk about over the next few days. We'll try and do a podcast tomorrow night as well after. Are you going to Honours tomorrow night? Yeah.
Well, now I'm a bit worried about my fashion sense. I'll have to wear these jeans with a shirt, and
I think go to the Honours bus, boys. Come to the workroom, and then we'll do this in here after. I think let's do that over the next couple of days, and then we got the thing with Jeff. I would say our podcast tomorrow night's our Super Bowl podcast. I think that's the one where we give our picks. Right, anyway.
I think everyone knows my picks now. If you're able to read between the lines, no prize for you.
We know Michaela's pick is the Eagles, right? So, hi, Michaela. Hope you're enjoying Dublin.
The short days versus our long.
I don't know what it's like to not work anymore. Like, I mean, I know it's like get the violins out. Like, right, anyway. I had it in my head. Bold prediction, right? I'm going to say that Patrick Mahomes throws for 4 passing touchdowns, over 400 over 400 yards, and over 60 rush on the day. I must say, I didn't say
what.
Why? It's a bold prediction.
That is insane. 4 passing touchdowns.
Listen to me.
No, I love it. I love it.
Big Red has had 2 weeks to plan for this.
My ball prediction, I was going to say Boston Scott has a touchdown, because I'd say there's decent money on that. Now Boston Scott 4 rushing touchdowns, 150 yards. That's all to match you.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll be more distinct here. We'll do one more each. We have a defensive MVP for the first time in 7 years.
So if they're going to be a defensive MVP, it's going to be Darius Slay or
Hassan Reddick, or any of the Chiefs. It could be the Chiefs as well. Yeah,
we'll go through them. Darius Slay won't be targeted enough, I don't think, to win it. and he hasn't got the flashy numbers all year, the 3 interceptions, because people don't go to him, and you need to have a big interception to win. But I mean, it would be one play, the pass rush gets to Mahomes, all of a sudden a loose ball goes and he picks it off and return, like that ends the game, or that goes back for a pick six. That could be because
I think you need a touch. I think he needs a player like that would need a touch more than that to get it. But I agree.
In a certain moment,
a big sack or a strip sack or something during the game as well would get it for me. Because that's like, I mean, Von Miller had.
Yeah. Do you know, just because I haven't said it now, and it's.
But that would mean that would mean it's a defensive slugfest. We don't really want that. I mean, we want a good game.
But that's what I'm saying. If it's a 35-35 game with 5 minutes to go, and Darius Slay gets a pick that brings them back to the 20-yard line, that's enough to win MVP, because there would be so much going on in that game. At that point, especially if there's a Boston Scott or Miles Sanders as a touchdown in it. I did want to say, because it's something that went through my head earlier on.
Go for it.
We're talking so much Darius Slay. Isn't it incredible the impact the Detroit Lions have had in the last 2 quarterbacks? 2 players that they traded away in Matthew Stafford and Darius Slay are such massive storylines. Like, that must be a killer for you guys.
Talking about, don't even start. Talking about the Detroit Lions. There's a guy that works in Radio Row, looks like Aidan Hutchinson, and I thought it was him. So I really went up to him and was like, "Oh, Aidan, any chance you can come on the oh my God."
When we went to the media party last night, not to put red on your face now, but we were, 20 steps in, and you say, "Is that Kirk Cousins?" I was like...
It looked a touch.
I don't know.
Who was it? There was somebody there last night. Was it Chandler Jones was there? There was a player or someone there. Somebody was there last night.
I think there's a Chandler Jones lookalike here, because I pointed him out. Because there's a very tall...
Well, you've started a big rumour because everyone was talking about it.
No, but that was here. So someone else has obviously seen the same
person.
Right.
Rihanna will finish her halftime on what song?
Wow, I don't know enough. I only know Umbrella. Give me Umbrella.
How the hell?
Shut Up and Drive. They're the 2 songs that I know. Is that not her song?
I think she should. I think she should bring. And I said this the other day. You got to bring T.I. out and do "Live Your Life."
Oh no, he's not big enough. No one cares if he comes out. T.I. Yeah. I think that she puts it in as a...
bring it in, or have it in some way. MVP will be...
Before we go into MVP, I do think we have to circle back and talk about the Chiefs defense. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Chris Jones could win it.
Frank Clark could win it.
Or a Frank Clark. I know that Michaela had said on our podcast the last day that she doesn't think that any Chiefs defensive player touches the Eagles. But this week, definitely. Chris Jones... fantastic interviewer, gives absolutely really, fantastic interview. The likes of him, obviously, he knows, and he looks so composed on the stage. And you know, I'm not saying that the Eagles players didn't, but his answers were fantastic. He's ready for this moment. So I do think that someone like he's ready for a big game. So you're dead right. That's one to mention.
One guy I spoke to, and you've seen Harrison Butker. Imagine he won it. It hasn't been like that in a long. Look, anyway, we'll shut up here. Right, NFL honours. Let's quickly go through this. MVP for me is Jalen Hurts. I don't care anymore. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes will win it, but it's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts for me is the MVP. Yeah.
We're on the same page with that. We talked about it on the...
It's funny because like you talk to anybody out there during the day when there's actually people here. People do come here. Like a lot of them just say Mahomes, but like I think you have to look outside the box for that and actually appreciate what Jalen Hurts was able to do before the battery was out in this.
I think it's worth talking about because I've mentioned the whole number 1 seed. By the time some people might be listening to this, the MVP has been announced. But how rare is it, and it is extremely rare, that you do get the 2 MVP frontrunners? Normally the MVP is far and away, decided by now, except for like if it's Cooper Kupp. We have not only the 2 number 1 seeds, but the 2 MVP favourites facing off. This Super Bowl genuinely sets up like one that we have not had in a while. It's right, and maybe it doesn't deliver, but certainly being here, we're getting serious excitement. I think we've all enjoyed, whether you're at home or in Arizona, the 2 weeks build up, because still no one knows, and no one's not going to know until it's 9:30 local time in Arizona.
4:30. Oh yeah, Jesus, I was panicking there. I thought you meant like 4:30 start. Coach of the year. Let's just give one answer. Coach of the year for me is Kyle Shanahan. I'm joking. Doug Peterson. Jaguars. I think what Joe Beers has done is incredible.
I don't think he can touch it.
You think Dable gets it?
I think that the way the Giants dropped off, I think he's lost. Brian Dable is mine, but I think that there's obviously favourites in front of him. That it is the flashy end, and that's how MVP is typically decided. Except it wasn't this year. Is that it's what have you done in the month of December? Brian Dable really should, though. I mean, it's funny that they're looking at his offense coordinator now for, I think Arizona interviewed him this week, but it's like, no, give me a break. Brian Dable, what he did in Arizona in year one, 37 million.
Brian Dable in New York.
Daniel Jones is going to be 37 million euro a year.
Are you in the funky juice, Si? Brian Dable in New York. No, we're in Arizona now. I'm taking that.
So off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when that happened in London, it was a surprise. When they kept on doing it, you had to give him credit. And going back to what I'm saying about Daniel Jones being a 37 million euro quarterback, they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, but Brian Dable was able to utilise him in a certain way. And we complained and said, Saquon Barkley, yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, is fake or whatever as the Giants were. I loved it early in the season, so I think it's a shame if he doesn't because of what happened in December, but so be it.
I'm not going to give any analysis. I'm just going to say offensive rookie of the year for me is going to be Garrett Wilson, and defensive is sus. I think the Jets sweep it.
Yeah, it's a shame because they could have had the two. Breece Hall, if he hadn't gotten injured, could have been close for the Jets to pick up the two offensive rookies of the year. Obviously, honourable mention to Tariq Woolen for the Seahawks for the defensive rookie of the year. But yeah, Garrett Wilson, I think it does help that he's in the New York market. You're right. But I think it's a shame that Breece Hall wasn't there because I thought he was.
I mean, Chris Olave wasn't even looked at for the offensive rookie of the year at all. He wasn't even shortlisted.
What's our friend Kenneth Walker in?
Will reckons Brock Purdy's going to win it.
Oh yeah, no. I love Brock Purdy, but it's too short. You can't. But look, like Kenny Pickett going into the year was, I think, something like the third or fourth favourite to win because people knew that he wouldn't start, but it was just depending on did he get his first week or week 4. Sorry, this has gone back to last year, obviously. But yeah, it would be a tough sell, and it kind of spits in the face of the players that played a full season.
Let's leave it there. So as Bill would have said, God rest him. Look, great week. So far, we're still getting there, enjoying every moment of it. Obviously, you can follow us, lads, at Michael_NFL, at Hogan NFL.
Yeah. Or check me out on any radio station in Ireland, apparently.
I'm talking to BBC Radio Foyle after the game before night, up in Dora, and I also spoke with Galway Bay FM.
Do you know what's funny? I'm on Today
FM.
Look at his name drop. I'm on Today FM. It'll be at 6 a.m. They're trying to do a pre-record because they know I'll be busy, but that's 11 p.m. air time. And because of all the pageantry, I've said it to them, I said, I don't know we'll be in a press conference at 11 o'clock because that's how late this week could go. So
it is going late.
And we're all trying to stay on the same sleep pattern. I know I am. I'm trying to stay in I haven't been able to adapt at all to this thing.
The Super Bowl is on Virgin Media in the Republic and frankly in about half of the North on Sunday night at 11:30 p.m. I would encourage everyone genuinely to watch it because we want as many people to watch the game in Ireland as possible.
I do believe they're using the ITV coverage.
They are using the ITV coverage with Woodsy,
will be good.
with OC, and I'm not sure who else because I think Jason Bell or Jay Bell. No, actually, no, Jay Bell is on
Sky.
Jay Bell's on Sky. I was chatting to him today.
There you go.
Very, very high up, chatting about Derry there. Great crack. He was like, "Oh yeah, Derry, yeah, man."
But I do think, going back to the point, I think it's important that they see their numbers and they say, I mean, look, they have the deal for the next couple of years, do Virgin Media,
3 years.
but it's more that they might get excited and then they put more into it, and the NFL notices that. So as NFL fans, it's almost like in Ireland we have to do ours as well.
And you're doing videos for them all week, and I'm going to try and jump on one on Sunday and see the crack. But
yeah, no, check the videos out. We have already, you'll have seen my Super Bowl opening night. I've done one on Phoenix the city, which is very exciting. I've done one on Shane McNerney, a kicker that's out here based in Arizona. We'll have one from a bar here that's owned by an Irishman.
We're going there now. Yeah.
I hope that we've been able to show off a brilliant side to Phoenix, and I think it is a bit unique that we are doing it as Irish people. In one of the videos, I was able to compare the size of Phoenix, in case you haven't seen it, to walking down Shop Street in Galway. So that coverage hasn't existed for a while before, so I hope people appreciate it.
do give us a follow. I will try and get Pat McAfee on the show at some point now. Paddy Football.
Well, if you're not too busy going on it yourself,
Oh,
he's going to be asking you on.
Here we go. No, look, obviously we'll get another one out on Thursday. That might do us, I'd say, for the week. We'll see the crack. We'll try and get the time onto it and see the crack. If we can get one on, we will do it. But I guess for now, Mark, thanks a million. Thanks to everyone that's either watched this or listened to this, and thank you so much for your patience on the video front. This has been Pro Football Ireland at Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. We were that good that everyone left. Have a good night. Vote your mind.